Hello friends, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to talk about how to calculate CAGR. Before heading to how to calculate, let's understand a very simple definition of CAGR and how it can be used for our daily to daily basis decisions. So CAGR is basically it's a parameter for assessment of a growth of a company in terms of its financials, mutual fund growth, stock growth, and there are many other uses. So let's understand what is CAGR. It is the rate of return that is required for an investment to grow from its beginning balance to its ending balance. That means the investment amount, and for let's say it's invested for 5 years. So at the end of the 5 years, what is the ending value? What is the investment value? And then it assumes the profits are reinvested at the end of each period or year of the total investment duration. That means the CAGR assumes the compounding every year, right, at the end of every year. CAGR is nothing new, but it's a modified formula of compound interest. CAGR formula: CAGR is equal to final value divided by starting value raised to the power 1 divided by number of years, for how long your amount was invested, so number of years, and minus 1. So this formula is nothing new, it's just a derivation of compound interest formula. So if you don't know compound interest, I would request you to please watch my previous video. I have given the link at the right hand top corner of this video, and I also have written the link in the description, so you can find there, and then you can know the details about how to calculate compound interest. So before going to the detailed calculation, I will briefly introduce the derivation of CAGR formula from compound interest. For those who are not interested in simple mathematics, you can skip this part and you can go to the next part of the calculation, but I would request to please watch this. It will be helpful to understand the CAGR. It will simplify the logic of CAGR. Okay, so let's understand how CAGR is derived from compound interest formula. So this is compound interest. So A is the final value is equal to starting amount that was invested 1 plus the rate of interest divided by the number of compounding in a year, and raise the power number of compounding multiplied by the time. And on the right hand side, I will show you how to derive the CAGR formula from the compound interest formula. I just copied exactly the same compound interest formula here, except that because as I said before, the CAGR assumes the compounding at the end of every year. So I take n is equal to 1. So I just drop n here in this formula, right? So other than that, this formula is exactly the same as it's here, right? So if you just take P, that is starting amount, on your left hand side, so it becomes like this. Again, so if you take the T power on the left hand side, it will be 1 divided by T, right? It's very simple. And then again in the next step, I take this 1 on the left hand side, so it will be minus 1. So this is the CAGR formula. So just to compare with this formula, so CAGR, that is this, and final value, that is A, starting amount, that is P, raised to the power 1 divided by number of years minus 1. So this is exactly, it's nothing new. This formula is nothing new. It's exactly the same formula as the compound interest. It's a different way of showing it, right? And different use of it, of course. So let's move to the CAGR calculations, right? So I have given an example here to understand it, and it will be very easy for you to understand. So I have given the case number 1. So in this one, let's assume the 10,000 were invested at the beginning of 2017, and it was invested until the end of the 2021. So, and during this journey or during this period of time, your investment value will be Sometimes it will go high, sometimes it will go down, so there will be many ups and downs, but the final value, let's say we have received, is 15,000 at the end of 2021, right? So it will be 15,000. I have shown here absolute return. So if you don't know how to calculate absolute return, I have given the link in the description and also in the right hand side of the video. If you want to know how to calculate absolute return, you can watch that video as well. So at the end of the 2017, your 10,000 has become 10,500. So what is the absolute return? It was 5%. But the next year, the end of the 2018, this value became 9,500. So there was a 5% loss of this investment value. All this calculation is based on this 10,000 value. And at the end of 2019, again it became 9,000, and then there was a loss of, but at the end of 2020 the value became 12,000, so there was a return of 20% from this 10,000 amount, and at the end of 2021 it became 15,000, so it gave a 50% return. So if I give you this number, would it be beneficial for you to make a decision whether you should invest or not? I think for me it's not. And of course you are also not so decisive by looking at this number. What you want a single one digit number to which is representative, and say that okay, for every year my investment value was going on this rate. So to know this rate, what is that rate? That is called CAGR. So let's say, so let's calculate the CAGR of this return is equal to, open the bracket, the investment value or the return value divided by investment amount, close the bracket, raise the power, again open the bracket, 1 divided by how many years? 5, close the bracket, minus 1. So this is your CAGR formula. So it became 8.45%. What does it mean? That means on year, the 10,000 was growing at the rate of 8.45%. So if I give you this single digit or single value, it will be more helpful to decide whether one should invest their amount in a particular mutual fund or particular stock or not, by looking at this historical like past value or the future value, right? This is, of course, this is confusing. By if I give you this number, it will not help you to decide. Okay, so if you see here, the date is just like at the end of like 1st January, and then we are checking our final value at the end of 2021, that is on 31st December. We never invest at the beginning of year and then we calculate our return at the end of year. We just do any random dates, right? When we have money, we just invest, and when we need, we can redeem it, or we can sell all the stock or the mutual fund, and if we need money, we can just take the money. Then it becomes complicated. You don't need to worry. I give you tips how to make it simple. So I have given another example, the same things, but it was invested on the 8th June, and we are checking the final value on 15th November 2021, and the same amount 10,000, and suppose we have received 15,000 at the end of on the day this 15th November on 2021. Then how to calculate CAGR? How do we know that how many years it was invested? By looking this number, by looking this number. Can you say that how many years? Of course it is not. It's not so easy. So I give you a tips. So our starting date is 8th June. Our return date is 15th November. So let's calculate the number of days, and it's very easy in Excel to calculate. What you do, the final date minus the starting date. That's what I did here, right? This minus this, it gives you how many days? 1621 days. And we all know that in 1 year, how many days? 365. So if you want to know how many years, then we divide 1621 by 365, right? So let's do it. This divided by 365, so it becomes 4.44 years. So it's a fractionated year. It will be very hard to calculate by on paper, right? So it becomes very easy here. Now it's easy to calculate CAGR, right? So let's calculate it again. Is equal to, open the bracket, final amount divided by initial amount, close the bracket, raise the power, again open the bracket, then 1 divided by, here I give you a tips again. So if you can just write 4.44 here, but if you take this column as a reference, your calculation will be automated for future, right? And then in this formula I close the bracket and then minus 1, so it becomes 9.56%. So let's say, if what I was telling to make it automated, let's say instead of 15th number we say 26th number, yes, so automatically 4.47, and then this value also has changed automatically. So you can implement this kind of things in your sheet, and all your calculation will be automated. You don't need to do these things again and again. It's very simple, right? I think it will be helpful for you. And if you like this, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share this video. It will really motivate me to make another helpful videos, another good videos for that, of course. Okay, so in the next part I will show you how CAGR can help you in making decisions, right? So I give you two scenario. One is we use fixed deposit and one is mutual fund. So we all know that in fixed deposit we know the rate of return, before we invest the money. Let's assume a bank gives 4%, right? So we invested 50,000 for 5 years at the rate of 4%. So I used compound interest formula. Again, if you don't know how to use compound interest formula in Excel, please watch my video. I have given the link in the description, and also you can see the links in the right hand side of the video you are watching now. Okay, so I'm not going to calculate again here compound interest, because this video then will be very long. So I have made a separate video on that. So after 5 years with this rate, your value will be 60,832, right? And in the and let's say the same amount it was invested in a mutual fund. So in mutual fund we don't know, because it's a market related things, we all know that. So we cannot say in the beginning that what will be the rate of return. Let's say we assume 15,000, after 5 years it will become 87,000. So what will be the rate? That's the CAGR. We need to calculate it. So let's calculate CAGR as I have shown before. So 11.71%. In the same way, we can calculate CAGR for this one, although we know that this value will be 4%. That's why I'm not showing the calculation again here, because we already know that rate was 4%. So CAGR, of course, it will be 4. It will come as 4%. So, and I have give an illustration here. So your invested value with the fixed deposit, it will give 4% return, but the mutual fund, it's giving 11.71% return. So by knowing this CAGR, we can easily decide where to invest our hard-earned money, right? So because CAGR gives, again I am repeating it, CAGR gives year-on-year rate of return for your invested amount, right? So I hope you have liked this video. If you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe, like, and share. Thank you for watching this video. See you next time.